Okay, it is 5:30 and time to start our regular meeting with a roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton.
Here.
Commissioner Barwick's absent. Commissioner Webb.
Here.
Commissioner Stecklin.
Here.
Mayor Absher.
Here, would you all stand and join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, item 3 on the agenda is public comments, audience to visitors. This is an opportunity for anyone who would like to address the council to do so by stepping forward to the podium. This is governed by a couple of ordinances which are on the back row back there that govern this portion of the meeting. Is there anybody who would like to speak to the council this evening? Okay, seeing no takers, we'll move on to the consent agenda, which consists of item A and B and sub-items. Anybody on the council want any of these items removed from the consent agenda and voted upon separately? Anybody from the audience like any of these items on the consent agenda voted upon with separate vote? Okay, hearing no objections, I'd entertain a motion to pass the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to pass the consent agenda as presented.
I second that.
Any discussion on any of these items? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton.
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick is absent. Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Stecklin.
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. All right, under new business, item 5, Police Department. I'll make this motion since Commissioner Barwick is not present this evening. And I'll move to approve the recommendation of the Merit Board, Commissioner Barwick and Chief Fitz to hire Aaron Lake as a patrol officer at the agreed upon pay rate per the collective bargaining agreement. Lake's start date would be August 12th. I guess that's tomorrow, 2025. Chief?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
What?
I'll second that.
Need a second. Thank you. Chief?
Are you going to go ahead and vote?
I'm sure. Well, I don't know. You want to risk it?
Let's risk it.
Really? Go ahead then.
Absolutely. Come on up. So this is Aaron Lake. A really unique story about him, sort of. He came to us, applied for the Marion PD, and there are age restrictions when it comes to the Training and Standards Board, and we weren't able to hire him. And he asked, what can I do to come to Marion PD? So I told him what he needed to do, and unlike many people today, he went out and did it. And after he was finished, put himself through the part-time police academy. After he did that, he gave me a call and said, I'm done. Can I have a job? So, yes, we give him a job. He begins tomorrow. He was working part-time at Carterville, and so now he's going to come to us. He has to take a 40-hour online course and then go back to Swick Academy for 2 weeks, and then he will become a certified full-time police officer, and that class begins September 2nd. So, anyway.
Aaron, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've been doing?
Yeah, I'm Aaron Lake. I started the police academy last year. I decided I wanted to do something different in my life. I was an EMT, a firefighter. It's just time to go full circle. But it's something I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to help people out like that. I've just kind of been in that frame of mind. And Marion's a fast-growing city, and this is where I want to be. I like it here. My daughter goes to school here. I spend a lot of time over here, and I want to do the job.
Okay, well, we're going to vote, and then don't go very far, because then we're going to swear you in should they approve it, okay? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton.
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick's absent. Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Stecklin.
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. You ready to be sworn in?
I am.
Okay.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Don't clap yet. Yes, I said I do. Speak loudly so they come and hold it right out in the middle of
Okay,
their
thank you.
I, Aaron Lake,
Having been appointed a patrol officer in the city of Marion, Illinois,
having been appointed a officer in the city of Marion, Illinois,
in the county of Williamson as aforesaid,
in the county of Williamson, as aforesaid,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of a patrol officer
of the office of a patrol officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Commissioner, Commissioner Steckler, Aaron Lake, Commissioner Pat. Mayor Sheila Stack, Cody Moak, and Mayor Asher. Yes. Go back to Madam. Okay. So here you go. What is that going to be?
Right under the end, please.
At the end. Right under the end. You guys want to come up here?
Why don't your family come up and get a picture with him?
Come on, come up too.
I'll take
Get everybody up here. Come on down. Get in here. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you. You did.
Nice to meet you guys. Good luck to school.
Sounds great. Very welcome.
For those of you that were here, the family for Aaron, will give you an opportunity to exit the meeting if you prefer, so that you can go have your dinner and celebrate. But you're more than welcome to stay, of course.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Chief leave? Is he coming back? I don't know if he's coming back or not. Vamoosed.
His stuff's
Yeah.
still here. He forgot. He probably just forgot.
Ask him if he wants to come back for the next one. Left me hanging.
I sure did, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You know,
Item 5B, it'd be my motion to approve the recommendation of Chief Fitz to hire Nathan Douglas as a school safety officer at the agreed-upon pay rate between Marion Unit 2 schools and the city of Marion.
second that.
I know he's not here, you told me, but you want to tell us about Mr.
Yes,
Douglas?
I couldn't be happier about this hire. Nathan just recently retired after a 28-year career with the Illinois State Police. He was the captain, and it was the old Districts 12 and 19, which covers Carmine, Effingham. So he made it all the way to the rank of captain. So we're very fortunate to have somebody with that experience helping watch our children.
When will he start?
He starts Wednesday.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton.
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick is absent. Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Stecklin.
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. Item 6A, Public Works, Commissioner Stecklin.
All right, so Brent, if you want to explain what this is a little bit. Basically, it's some additions to an existing building that we've got.
It is. It's a fairly large capital improvement project that we're going to do. We're trying to turn an existing building into a maintenance shop for some of our bigger vehicles. We just need more room. So we're breaking this down into sections. This first part here is the electrical estimate. It's sizable in its own. We budgeted $125,000 this year to spend. This is part of it. So, you know, in regards to the size of this project, we thought we'd probably be better off getting a couple of bids for this work. Two companies here in Marion turned in bids. Barnett Electric, I think, was the low bid. Yeah, at $63,000 or $65,363. Bruce Electric had a bid of $97,146. So significant difference there. But I recommend approving the low bid for Barnett Electric for that amount.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the low bid of $65,363.47 from Barnett Electric for materials and labor to install components to an existing building for use as a mechanic shop for the sewer department, which is a budgeted item.
I'll second that.
Any more questions for Brent or discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton.
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick's absent. Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Stecklin.
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. All right. Under item 7, we've got a plat of a subdivision for a new hotel. And Mr. Farley, were you going to speak to this?
Just if you had questions.
Okay, so the short story is there's been a hospitality or a true, is that what brand flag is that? Hilton True, I'm sorry, that's what I was missing. That's been planned for this area for some time. I think they've changed locations, which is on the southeast corner of the stadium parking lot. And so the subdivision is carving out that piece for that hotel. Commissioner Stecklin and I were looking at this plat ahead of time. I actually think this might be a better location than the previous one, given the proximity to the stadium and the things that are going on there. So,
Real easy to see coming off the
yeah.
Hurricane Diamond there.
So you've got a plat of that. I did have, Glenn brought me a picture.
How many rooms is this, do you know?
I think it's 108. Don't quote me on that. It's right around that.
3-story?
Yes.
I didn't know if that would make any more sense to you guys or not. This is the stadium. This is that area that's depicted on the directly across from Culver here. Yeah. Yeah. Did you see that, Jim? I'll show you. So this gravel area is what we're subdividing, so to speak.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'll move to approve ordinance 4057, accepting the plat of a subdivision for Hospitality True subdivision.
Second.
Any questions, Mr. Farley, or any comments on this? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton.
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick's absent. Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Stecklin.
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. Okay, item B and C are related, and I want to explain this just a little bit. For at least since, was it 2 Augusts ago, I believe, almost about this time of the year, we had about an 8-inch rain in a very short period of time and had some substantial flooding in the Moore Park and Western Air area. And although that's not a new problem, it was particularly acute at that point, and certainly the first major event in that neighborhood since I'd been in office. And we've been planning with Horner Schifrin and had some other people looking at this, trying to figure out, it is in a floodplain. It is a problematic area to begin with some limitations because of the Army Corps of Engineers and our inability to change how that creek flows. They just simply won't allow us to do whatever. I mean, it's got to be done very purposely and specifically. So we think we've got a plan that initial estimates is going to cost about $1.5 million plus or minus, I think. Is that about right? The Delta Regional Authority is a federal pass-through organization that basically Southern Illinois is on the northernmost end of that regional authority. And for the first time, their grant programs will allow flood control. And so both of these items, B and C, our hope is to submit this plan to DRA in hopes that they'll consider us for this award cycle. And we think we have a plan that's approvable by the Army Corps of Engineers, and it will significantly help. It has to do with widening. There's basically a ditch that goes through Edgewood and Lingale, and those culverts that are there are undersized, that go under the roads. There needs to be, I think, at least one more culvert underneath 13 that passes them through the refuge, and more impactfully than anything else, on the other side of the south side of Old 13, that waterway needs to be cleaned out with a concrete bottom put in it, if I remember right, so that that water can continue to flow out of there as it goes into Crab Orchard Lake. So that's sort of the extent of it. But the engineers feel like if we can get all of that done, it will significantly lower the flood level there when we do get a significant rain like we did 2 Augusts ago, or even lesser ones, obviously, that have also posed a problem. So that's what both of these resolutions are for. The first one, 7B, is to allowing me to execute and submit all these documents needed for this project to DRA. There's also some that will need to be authorized by Greater Egypt Regional Planning and Development. And so that's the second, item 7C, in the second resolution, to allow them to do their part. And therefore, that's my motion on 7B, to adopt resolution 2025-12, authorizing myself to execute and submit any and all documents to the Delta Regional Authority for fiscal year 2025 federal award program cycle for the proposed Moore Park drainage project.
I'll second that.
Any questions on this? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton.
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick's absent. Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Stecklin.
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. Similarly and related, as I said, item 7C, I move to adopt resolution 2025-13, authorizing Greater Egypt Regional Planning and Development Commission to execute and submit any and all documents to DRA for the fiscal year 2025 federal award program cycle for the Moore Park drainage project.
Second.
Any discussion on this? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton.
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick's absent. Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Stecklin.
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. Item 7D, it's like so we have 6 TIF grant applications received through August 7th, and I move to approve that list of fiscal year TIF grant applications through that date.
Second that again.
Is that a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton.
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick's absent. Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Stecklin.
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. All right, under Public Affairs, item 8A, see on the agenda, presentation by myself on employee health insurance. I see a couple of union representatives here, so I want to preface my remarks with I prepared these remarks mainly for these guys to get their heads around this, but knowing that you're here, I'm going to try to modify that just a little bit if I can think on my feet and tell you why I think this is important to our employees. but please understand it's mainly geared for these guys, okay? So if you'll, I've put a 4-page summary. This is intended to be an executive summary. There's a lot of details that will need to be discussed, particularly with the employees later, but I want to give you guys what I think is a overview of where we're at with this as we contemplate what the takeaway is at the end, which I'll get to, but in a couple of weeks, we'll need to make a decision at the next council meeting 2 weeks from tonight on whether we pass resolutions and join the Hope Trust or not. So, so basically, and again, when I mention these numbers, this is the total cost of the health plan. It's borne 75% typically by the city and 25% by the employee, but I've not split those costs out, so these numbers are just the aggregate numbers for the health plan. So right now, if you take our census count, we've got 189 total employees on 4 different tiers. What I mean by tiers is you've got single insurance, you've got employee plus spouse, employee plus child, and family coverage. Between those 4 buckets of coverages, we have 189 employees plus dependents on the plan, and I think that amounts to about 400 lives, if I recall right. The total expenditure for this calendar year, keep in mind that number changes throughout the year, obviously, as we add or people leave, but is just shy of $4.6 million. Now, as we talked about in the last special meeting when Hope Trust was here, the rates we're going to be talking about subsequent to this are based on next year. We do not have a renewal quote, nor will we have, from our current carrier, which is Blue Cross Blue Shield, to compare that to until much closer to our renewal date. And we don't have that kind of time to make a decision if we're going to contemplate moving to Hope Trust. So, somewhat just as illustrative comparisons is if you compare, to get to an apple-to-apple comparison as to what these rates that we're talking about in the aggregate costs, we would need to add to our current plan some sort of projected premium increase. Now, last year, we had a 7% premium increase. The initial offer that they gave us was just shy of 17, I think it was 16.9%, if I remember right. So we had to hoop, holler, and scream and negotiate that to get it to 7%, and felt reasonably lucky, so to speak, to have it at 7%. So the research that I've done and the direct question I asked of Hope Trust and have asked of others as to what the run rate in the near foreseeable future, not that anybody can predict that future, is that somewhere between 8 and 12% per annum is kind of the inflation rate for medical inflation, which of course leaches itself into the premiums for healthcare coverage. So to that $4.6 million that we're paying now, to be able to compare that to what the premiums are aggregately with Hope Trust, if you apply the 7% that we experienced this year to that, we'd be looking at $4.9 million. A 12% increase would be about $5.142 million. So those two figures are really somewhere in that range, is really probably what we ought to be comparing these to, because again, we're looking at guaranteed or proposed rates for next year, starting January 1st of next year, not current. So next on this is, it's important to understand there are really 3 options with Hope Trust. This is one of the key differences between what we have now. I'm looking to you guys because this is one of those things I'm changing my conversation just a little bit. Right now, it's basically, this is what we've got, take it or leave it. So with this plan that we're contemplating in a couple of weeks, whether we wrap our head around it or not and go that route or not, this is the 3 offerings that they have. So the first is called a Hope Trust 1000 plan. Now, before I tell you what the aggregates and the rates are, because I know you guys want to know how much is it on monthly, I will tell you right off the bat, the monthly premiums, based on what we think Blue Crosses would be, are not going to be materially lower with this plan, if at all. They might be a little bit more expensive, actually. So in aggregate, again, if we compare what the total plan, it's almost 4.9 million, and at that 7% increase that we saw applied to Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is an assumption, it's 4.9 million. And I think I said this last time, I don't think we're going to save any money with this. It is slightly cheaper than a 7% increase. It's $250,000 cheaper if we were to have to endure a 12% increase. And just for frame of reference, somebody mentioned in the course of all this, one of our local units of government that's with Blue Cross Blue Shield experienced a 31% increase in their premium this year. So if you don't think 12% is possible, you're wrong. So we don't know what it is. Those are the ranges that I've just, for illustrative purposes. The Hope 1000 plan is as close to what we've got now as they have. It's actually a little bit better than what we have now because it's near zero out-of-pocket costs. That's for deductibles, copay, RX, prescriptions, all that. So it's arguably better from an out-of-pocket standpoint than what we currently have now. From the employee's standpoint, it is not any cheaper than what we have now. Either the premiums monthly or obviously the aggregate. And I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but I feel like I've got to say this again. Why is that? The premium is dictated by what our claims are. Nobody's going to come in here and quote us a cheaper amount of premium when last year's claims, or really the last 3 years is what they look at, until our claims decrease or our claims experience gets better, there's just not going to be relief from that. So that's the 1000 plan. Option 2, Hope Trust calls this the $4,000 or 4000 plan. This gets a little bit more nuanced, and I'm going to do my best to explain this. My goal is not to get into the weeds with this tonight. I think the subsequent meetings that, should we move this direction, that the consultant Snedker would have with employee groups can explain this much better than I can, but I'm going to do my best. So this plan, 4,000, means it does have a $4,000 deductible. It's what's called a qualified high deductible plan. It is somewhat cheaper on a monthly basis for the employees. Now, because this is a managed plan, this is where it gets a little nuanced. Even though it's a $4,000 deductible on the medical side of things, so we're talking about actual medical claims, not prescription drugs, medical, and that's the nuance. It's actually got a $1,700 single deductible and a $3,400 single plus. So whether you've got employee spouse or employee family, it doesn't matter. It's $1,700, $3,400 medical. Where the 4,000 comes in, and again, that's because they're allowed to do that under the rules. They can basically lower that deductible. But it is a true $4,000 deductible because if that same employee has a lot of prescriptions or an expensive prescription program, there is a possibility with prescriptions, for the employee to be out of pocket $4,000. Or if they travel outside of the network. Now, what we're proposing to the council, and this is a real deviation, and I want you guys to pay a little closer attention to this part, because this is where I think it's going to take a lot of understanding and explanation, but I think once everybody does, I think that there will be a significant amount of employees that will not only benefit from this, but will ultimately choose to participate in this plan. And that's our goal, and I'll get into that in a minute. With this plan, we are able to, or this is what we propose. We don't have to do this, but this is what I'm proposing to the council, is that for an employee that selects the 4,000 plan, we will couple that with what's called a health savings account, which will entail for a single employee, or not single employee, but single insurance, those that are electing just insurance for themselves, not their family, the city will contribute $1,400 to a health savings account for them in that calendar year, in that plan year. That'll probably come in 2 different parts. We haven't got to that level of detail yet, but probably divide it in 2, and we'll give one the beginning of the year and one in mid-year. So the benefit of that is that that can offset that out-of-pocket by that amount. And if it's not used, it could be used in future years. It can be never used, but it always remains the employees. It is their health savings account. It would earn interest at a bank. They would have a debit card that would go along with it. They could even get checks that go along with it. So this isn't unique to our plan necessarily, but a health savings account, things that are never covered under insurance can be used as long as they're medically qualified. The way it's been explained to me, it's up to the employee and their accountant to justify whether those things are medical expenses or not. But some things that have been given to me as an example is like eyeglasses that might not be covered under a plan, or orthodontics that might not be covered under a plan could be used by that health savings account. Co-pays, co-insurance, whatever. It can be paid right out of that account. Or like I said, many employees don't use their insurance. Many use it a lot. Yes?
Are the employees allowed to put into that as well?
Yes.
Okay.
That was my question.
With limits?
Pre-tax.
Pre-tax. So,
IRS sets those limits.
Right. Okay, I just want to make sure they could put into.
so the question is, I've not run any of those numbers because I didn't know what to assume. If an employee wants to contribute to that, that plan, they can as well. And that money goes in pre-tax.
So, as an example, and I'm just going to use this as an example, $1,400 goes into my account from the city, and let's say I know my first child needs braces, and it's $2,000. I know they're more than that, but let's just say $2,000. Then I could contribute $600 and basically have the braces paid for, or if it's more, I can do more.
Yeah, I don't know what the limits are.
It's an account that I can use with a debit card.
Yeah, and it stays with,
Yeah,
it would stay with an employee after they left the city.
Right.
And that money would sit there.
Right.
And continue to earn interest.
Right.
Until such time that they get Medicare coverage.
right.
And then that money can then be rolled over
Yeah.
to an IRA, for example.
Right.
And it can stay pre-tax, it can stay tax deferred forever.
Yeah.
But to your point, I want to say, I looked this up the other day, but I didn't internalize it enough. But I want to say it's like $6,500 a year is the limit for an individual to contribute to HSA.
So let's assume that I contribute $6,500.
Yeah.
And I spend $3,000.
Yeah.
I'm going to have that difference available to me.
And then next year, we're going to put $1,400 back.
Exactly. So it's kind of a perpetual thing.
Yes.
Always mine. I never lose it. I know when the HSA or the HSAs first came out, it was use it or lose it. At the end of the year, if you didn't calculate right, you were kind of stuck.
Yeah.
But as I understand, they can pay for things like Band-Aids and aspirin and, all of the stuff that we reach into our pocket and get and buy and don't think anything of it because it's not reimbursable from the insurance. this is perfect for that.
So it's $1,400 would be contributed by the city for an employee that elects coverage just for themselves. If they elect anything, I'll call it single plus, so I mean any of the other buckets like employee spouse, employee child, or they choose family coverage, we would contribute $2,800, double that amount. So I want to go through I'm going to skip to page 3 real quick on your proposal. So I want to give you a couple of examples. Now again, there's a caveat to this. If somebody is on some expensive medications, prescriptions, this math may not hold true because they may end up having to get to that $4,000 deductible, okay? Most of we have some expensive prescriptions are definitely driving our costs. There's no question about that, but it's not every employee. It's a few employees, I think, that are driving those costs. So I'm saying that because what I am about to say probably applies to the bulk of the employees. So let's use an example. The difference in this premium from the 1,000 plan to the 4,000 plan is about $100 a month on a single insurance. Now the employee only pays 25% of that, city pays 75% of it. So $25 a month times 12 months, the employee would save $300 a year versus choosing 1,000. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But we're also giving them $1,400. So if you add those two together, they're getting $1,700 versus, or they can choose the 100, just pay the premium, and they have zero. That makes sense? In that circumstance, with the caveat of prescriptions that I just said, their maximum out of pocket is $1,700 on that plan. So the kind of the worst case scenario on medical is if they max out their plan, so to speak, their benefits, they're still $0 worse off, if that makes sense. And then alternatively, for that person, kind of the best case scenario is because keep in mind, under either plan, preventative care, regular doctor's visits, that kind of thing are all covered regardless without an out-of-pocket. So we're just talking about hospitalization and that kind of thing. So the best case scenario is, other than just preventative care and going and getting your blood pressure checked and your physical and that kind of thing, you don't actually really have any medical claims. Best case scenario is that they're $300 better off per year because they're not paying the higher premium for the 1,000 plan, and they've kept this $1,400. So the best case scenario is they're $1,700 better off choosing the 4,000 plan versus the 1,000 plan. Now going down the steps, I won't go through all 4 of them. All of them have a similar but a little bit progressive worst case benefit and best case benefit. In the case of a family employee, just go to the other extreme, an employee that chooses family coverage. The difference between the 1,000 plan and the 4,000 plan on premium alone would save them, just the employee, $930 a year. But then we're coming to the table with $2,800 a year, which gives them a total benefit of $3,730 a year. But a family plan, the maximum out of pocket is only $3,400. So the worst case scenario is they're still, if they max out the medical part of their plan, they're still $330 better off. I know this is all hard to absorb listening to, and this needs to be explained one-on-one with people. But this is the basis of which I'm making this recommendation, is I think in every scenario, the 4,000 plan, we can at least show has a likelihood of the employee being better off. Now,
Now, would the employees have a choice, or would
Yes,
we
absolutely.
pick one plan or the other
No,
for
no, no,
everybody?
they have a choice.
Okay.
So that's option 2. And if you'll notice, by the time we add the premium plus how much it's going to cost us to contribute the city alone to the HSA, the savings account, we're right back at 4.9 million. So we're at 4.9 million on the other one, literally within $6,000. Not enough margin that it even makes worthy of mention, because who knows between how many people take one or the other, how that actual math will work out. But if everybody chose the 1,000 plan, we'd have a cost of 4.9 million, we think. If everybody chose the 4,000 plan, we'd have a cost of 4.9 million, we think. And I'll get into why then in a minute, but I want to go over the third option, which is quite unique, and I believe exclusive to the Hope Trust. So this is an option called the Health Reimbursement Plan. It's called HRP. It's an option for our employees that have coverage from another source. For example, if they have the ability to get on a spouse's plan at work. This option costs $600 a month. Of course, 25% of that, the employee pays $150. What it does, though, is it would cover all in-network, out-of-pocket expenses, deductibles, co-pays, or co-insurance for themselves or for all other enrollees on that coverage. So, for example, if they can get on their spouse's high-deductible plan, let's say their work only offers a $5,000 deductible or something. For $150 a month to the employee, they can enroll on that plan at their spouse's workplace, and it would pay all of that out of pocket that they would have on their plan as a reimbursement. That's a pretty good deal, because I'm just going to say it. There are employers out there that aren't having as many claims as we are, and so they may be able to offer much more affordable coverage than we are. If that's the circumstance for a particular employee, this is a great option, both for the employee and for the city, because it still costs us, right? I mean, we're paying $450 a month for this. The city is. Employees paying $150 a month, but we're not paying $45,000 a year for a family plan. And if that gets the employee better coverage, great, even better. So that's the third option. So let me go back to the why. If both option 1 and option 2 cost $4.9 million, why? Why even offer it? Why are we throwing this health savings account into the mix? One, first of all, I think it gives our employees, for sure, some savings, even though the city's not going to save anything necessarily, at least not year 1, we don't think. More importantly, when we listened to Snedker the other day, again, remember, their world in the Hope Trust specializes in governmental units. That's all they do. And our world is a little bit different than private side insurance. So when they've done, over all these years, they've had these plans for groups that are under the 4,000 plan. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to say it's the group. Basically, their claim experience from a 1,000 to a 4,000 plan, when coupled with an HSA like this, the overall claims in their experience are 5 to 7% less per year. That's a big, it doesn't sound like a big number, but on $5 million worth of premium, it's a big number. More importantly, the difference, this is what I was speaking to at the special meeting. We're on this trajectory like this. Any gap we can create between that trajectory and this over a 10-year lifetime, 5-year lifetime, 2-year lifetime, pick your time frame. But over a 10-year, think you remember me saying at the special meeting, I did some pretty simple math on 7 to 12%, and a $45,000 or $48,000 plan today is a $120,000 plan in 10 years. No one will be able to afford it. The employee won't be able to afford any share of it. The city sure won't be able to afford the rest of the share of it. And what happens is a death spiral at that point, because only the unhealthy people will be the ones that have any desire or ability to stay on a plan. And then if your premiums are based on claims, you can only imagine that trajectory just goes hyperbolic at that point, and the plan would collapse. So why would we do this? It's for the hope and the promise that this 5 to 7% claims experience differential can be realized. Now, the rational people in all of us would say, well, why is that so? Why would that plan yield 5 to 7% less claims? It's actually pretty simple. Again, we're offering an opportunity to keep money through this health savings account. I think I said this at the special meeting, we have got somehow over time, and this will not be instantaneous, but over the course of 1, 2, 3 years, what we're told is that it takes a couple of years for people to understand a lot of this stuff and ultimately migrate themselves to the 4,000 plan. But at the end of the day, what we're hoping is with that incentive, what we're planning on, and what Hope Trust has experienced with other groups, is that the employees become better consumers, more astute consumers of how they're acquiring their own health care. Sometimes there's a vast difference in charges for very routine services between one hospital group and another. We got to ask. We got to start asking those questions and finding out how much this stuff is. So if you've got to use your health savings account to make up some of that difference, now you got a little bit more interest in finding out how much that is. And it doesn't sound like rocket science, I'm losing my voice, or brain surgery, and it's really not. It's just acquiring health care the same way we acquire gasoline, which is we look at the sign and find out who's cheaper and decide to go there to some extent. So that's really the why behind that. And what I'm asking you guys to consider on the council is, again, I don't have a magic bullet to save the city any money, but I believe if we offer this, our savings, so to speak, and our experience is going to be somewhere between what's presented here on the 1,000 plan and the 4,000 plan, because obviously not everybody's going to choose either. We also don't know how many people might choose the health reimbursement plan and choose not to be on our insurance at all. But there will be some, and that would save us some money. I just have no idea on how to predict that. But that's the why. The good news for the employees, bad news for the employees is there is no magic bullet. I don't have a way to reduce how much we're going to pay. The good news is you're going to have more choices than ever before. And the better news is that if you become astute, asking questions, consumers of your own destiny and your own health care, there's an opportunity for you to keep some of your money. And I think that's a winning combination, especially if it can lower the trajectory of our claims experience. Let's see. The next steps is I want the council to review this stuff and review these different plans, the cost implications of them. This is a self-insurance model. I want to disclose that to you and the public, and here's what that means. These are based on, these quotes are based on projected claims, just like anybody else would do, and us not having the administrative expenses of hiring a off-the-shelf health insurance company to administer those claims. And that's where we can save some money, we think. But we do have stop losses, as with any self-insured plan. So it's not like we have infinite exposure. But if these are off $100,000, we have $100,000 more claims at the end of the day, we'll have to pay that. I would make the argument that to a large extent, we've always been self-insured, because what are they going to do if your claims are more this year than the premium you paid in? They're going to up your bill next year. That's the way it works. So the whole concept of we're fully insured or self-insured, I think it's a mixed view of that, really. The next thing I'd ask is that you ask questions. You direct any questions to me or Cody, more particularly to Snedker Risk Management over the next couple of weeks before you are asked to make a decision at the next council meeting. If we approve this on the 25th and we join the Hope Trust, this would be the next step. We would schedule 10 to 12 small group sessions to employees to attend while they're on the clock. We're scheduling that many because we think probably about 20 people plus or minus is about a manageable size to get everybody's questions answered. And the time to fill out the questionnaires that they would have to fill out, can be done electronically, by the way, but if somebody wants to fill them out on site, I guess they probably could in that meeting. But it's important that we take our time, that everybody understands this. I'm trying to avoid, frankly, as I mentioned in the special meeting, I think we all heard about a lot of drama that the county had when they went to Hope Trust at the beginning, and then maybe we can avert some of that by good communication and understanding way before the time to actually flip the switches, and that's our goal. So if we would approve this by the end of August, then we would almost immediately schedule those meetings at the beginning of September, keeping in mind that it's going to take some time to enroll everybody and change over to the new plans January 1st, 2026. At the bottom there, I have given you the contact information directly, including a cell number for the General Counsel for Snedker Risk Management. I did ask them to review my summary document to make sure I'm telling you all correctly what we all had discussed, and they did say that I was, but I by no means intend to present myself as an expert on all this. I know it's a lot to absorb, particularly when you're listening to it, you're not reading it. But we're happy to explain whatever we can to anyone in the capacity that we have. But what we really need, as I mentioned before, is this small group interaction so that these folks from Snedker can really have one-on-one conversation. The choice of whether an employee chooses 1,000, 4,000, or HRP is a very personal sit down with your spouse at the kitchen table conversation. It really is. It's not for the city to dictate whether they do that. That's a personal choice, a math choice, and to some degree, a large degree, it depends on their personal health situation and what they've got going on. And they can discuss those things with the risk management people in confidence. We can't ask those questions as the employer. So that's another benefit of this, is that somebody that's really in the know can talk to them about their personal situations and guide them at least what they think the best choice would be for the employees. So first, I'll ask you guys, I know I've done all the talking to the point where I've lost my voice, but what questions do you have? And then I'll ask these guys, the union representatives that we have here, what they'd like to know.
I don't have a question, it's a comment. I'm familiar with these types of plans. My company's had it for 20 plus years. You know, the HSA plan, the non-HSA plan. I did work for one employer at one point in my career where we had an HRP like this, similar, and it was very popular, I will tell you, amongst employees that could opt into that portion of it because it covered everything. I mean, literally, we could have surgeries for $5. It was that good, so it was crazy. So,
I think you participated in that for some time when your wife worked for the county, right?
Yeah, and it's as simple as compiling your EOBs. You can do it monthly, you can do it yearly, you can do whatever.
yeah.
You send that to them, within 10 days, they send you a check for whatever the EOB says you're out of pocket
Yeah.
expenses.
So you had personal experience with the Hope Trust and these folks right here, Snedker, and got reimbursed dollar for dollar, right? Okay. All right, how about you guys?
I think you addressed it very well.
Absolutely.
Way too much information, TMI?
You just framed it like you work for Hope Trust.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm pretty impressed with these folks. They really seem to know their stuff. I pray and hope everything that they say comes to fruition and that it all works the way that it's been described. But I have asked the same question about 6 different ways to make sure I'm getting the same answer each time. And it's been very consistent. I put this summary together, like I said, asked them to review it to make sure that I interpreted everything the way that it was correct. And so, but I know there's a whole lot more detail that you guys will want to know. All employees will want to know, and we're very prepared to make them available to do that. But
Our current plan's through the end of the year, is that right?
our current plan is through the end of the year. So we would have normally open enrollment at the end of the year if we renewed. Usually get the renewal quote. When do we usually get our renewal quote from?
Middle of September.
Okay, so we're not quite there yet. We're a month off-ish. But that would be the first step, is know how much it's going to cost, and then make sure everybody wants to stay on it. But and it's entirely possible, not probable, that we would have some sort of 0% rate increase, or I've never seen a decrease, but I mean, there's no guarantees that these illustrative rate increases are real. But what I am absolutely 100% confident in saying, if we keep doing what we've been doing, we're going to keep getting what we've been getting. And that's increase after increase after increase. This at least provides more choices for our employees, more flexibility, the opportunity for them to save money if they don't use their health care. For those that do use their health care, it's not going to cost them any more than it would have before. But for those that don't, it's a great opportunity. And that lends itself, because they're not making the claims, to an opportunity for us to reduce our premiums. Yeah, Terrence.
Yeah, just a few questions. I like the fact that we are given options. So, one question, when it comes down to the HSA, is there a max? Does it max out on anything, maximum dollar amount?
So,
Can be placed into that account?
yes. So my understanding,
IRS sets that every year.
yeah,
Okay.
We don't, the IRS
Right.
don't. Yeah.
I just didn't know whether, I'm just asking, I'm not familiar with those programs.
so our amount's not going to change. I think you're on employee plus child, right? Isn't that what you said last time?
Yes, I see what you're saying.
So our contribution would not change. It would be $2,800 for you in your circumstance. You could put more of your pre-tax earnings into it, and it looks like Cody or Lance has got something.
Lance just showed me some numbers.
Yeah, so self-only coverage is 4,300 HSA limit. Family coverage is 8,550.
That includes what the city puts in?
That would,
No.
No. Or is that
that's total contribution to an HSA pre-tax.
from
Including
the
ours?
individual?
Including ours.
Total.
Okay.
Is that per year?
Per year.
Okay, I'm thinking lifetime.
Yes.
No,
Per year.
per
No,
year.
per lifetime, it would be whatever the maximum is per year.
And they typically have indexed those with inflation each year. I think they go up each year, just like a IRA contribution or something, or 401k contributions do.
And then,
The benefit to you, the only benefit, I mean, there's a bunch of benefits because you're saving money that you can use and so forth, but really the tangible one right off the bat is if you did, say, put $1,000 in your HSA of your earnings, not in addition to the city, then that's pre-tax, so you would not have to pay tax on that $1,000. It would not be withheld from your paycheck. So whatever your tax rate is for federal, and is that federal and state? Do you know? Just federal.
it's
So,
kind of like our arm, that we would pay that voluntarily.
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah, it's pre-tax.
It's
Yeah.
pre-tax as well.
what other questions? You said you had several.
So the other question that I had is if I get onto, let's say I got onto my spouse's plan and for whatever reason that I needed to get off that plan, is there a waiting period, a grace period, open enrollment for me to get back on this?
Open enrollment. Unless she has a qualifying event that would make you no longer eligible for that plan.
Okay.
No. No, it's, Wendy's question was, will open enrollment change? It will not. It will still be like December every year with a January 1st start date. So unless, and that's not our rule, that's ACA rule as far as changing like that. Unless she's got a qualifying event that would make you no longer eligible, you would have to wait till open enrollment.
And then this is my final question, I promise. If next year, let's say the year 2, year 3, I decide to change plans, can I go to a different tier level?
Yes.
Okay,
During open enrollment.
I have no further questions.
Also on that HSA, if you're 55 or older, you get a $1,000 catch-up too, every year. So you can contribute 1,000 more each year if you're old enough.
Thank you.
The one question I did have was, this HSA, if an employee left the city of Marion and went someplace else or just retired, they can roll that into an IRA, correct?
They can, no, they can roll it into another HSA if their employer offers that. Otherwise, that account still just stays at the bank and they would still be able to use it. They don't lose those funds. They can roll it over into another HSA is my understanding, or like Cody said, at retirement age, they can.
And you could probably pay a penalty and take all that money out. You could probably pay the tax
It's
penalty.
pre-tax, free, also,
Right.
it's all pre-tax.
Yeah,
So you have to do
but
it.
you could move it to a different HSA account unless you're a retirement age, in which case you can roll it into a retirement account. And it stays tax deferred, or it stays tax free at that.
I think that's 65, it's 65.
Yeah.
Just food for thought. When I retired, I had some money in that HSA account. I rolled it over into a Edward Jones account, and I'll leave it there until I decide to start drawing it out. And when I start drawing it out, obviously I have to pay taxes on it because it was all pre-tax. So, you know, you could, like they said, you can either take it out, pay the penalty, or roll it over into something
I don't
else.
think you'll have to pay tax on that.
Huh?
I don't think you'll have to pay tax on that.
Oh, the HSA?
Not because you rolled it into an IRA, which those disbursements are tax free.
I don't.
Depends on the IRA, doesn't
I
it?
don't think so.
I think you have to, but I don't
If it's
see
a
how
Roth,
we could.
Roth is tax-free, I think.
Yeah. If it-
Yeah, unless it's a Roth. I'm not sure. We're probably out of our,
Yeah, yeah, I'm teetering on that one.
might be out of our area of expertise by now, but,
Call
Well,
your-
I think it gives everybody a great option.
well,
I think it'll go over pretty well, because a lot of people complain, now, saying, they don't know enough about the insurance. And with them sitting down one-on-one, as they explained in our last meeting, I think they couldn't have explained it any better. I think it's a very good deal.
okay.
How's the county employees, do they like it? I'm just curious, the county.
Based on what Snecker says, yes.
Okay.
And I talked to one of the commissioners, and he said the same thing.
I think initially there was a lot of chaos because people just didn't know. After that first year's under their belt, I think it's going much better. And actually, honestly, I think everybody likes it.
That's what all the union members say, they said it's the best plan they've ever seen after,
Yeah,
well, first.
Yeah.
No one likes change.
right.
But then once it came about and they started making their claims and they can get to pick their plan and they can save a little money here and there, that means a lot.
Yeah.
It's good to have somebody local that's experienced it already, takes a little bit of the unknown out of it.
Okay, well, I'm not asking you to make a decision tonight. I am asking you to ask any questions of either myself, Cody, or Snedker, of which you've been given the contact between now and then. Take input that you've got from people in your departments and funnel those questions to the right people and get yourself either uncomfortable or comfortable one way or the other. And we'll be asking you to make a decision one way or the other at the next meeting. So All right, we'll
I
move.
have one more question.
Okay. Sure.
I know that when I was here at the last meeting, Mr. Whitehead, I think his name was Ted Whitehead, he was one of the gentlemen that said, you know, he could explain things. So if your employees, our members want to talk to them, do we give them a phone number to contact them?
Have them come see me, I'll give them
Okay.
some information, including
Okay.
contact.
Because, you know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be able to explain it limited,
Yeah,
of course.
just have them come talk to me, I'll get them.
Okay.
We probably, I think the packets we had out here last time, that's what we need to give to them first, because that's what Snyder's going to say, have you seen that packet? Because that's what they're going to go down. I think that's what Cody's getting at.
Get some of those to any of us, we'll pass them out, or have somebody take them to them so they can review it. I think it'd be great.
Okay.
Pete first.
Okay.
Any
Thank
other,
you for explaining everything what you really did.
okay. Any other questions, comments on that subject before we move on? Okay, we'll move on to item 9, commissioner reports. And Commissioner Patton, do you have anything for your department?
I do not have anything unless, no, we're good. But I am going to take care of the police department if that would be fine. Activity report for July of 25, city ordinance violations 41, criminal traffic citations 237, warrant arrests 28, incidents reported 374, traffic accidents 149, 0 DUIs. Dispatched calls 2201, 2,201, emergency calls 1,511, non-emergency calls 3,310, and ambulance calls 164.
Okay. Commissioner Steckland?
Since last report, the water department reported that 4 meter pits were repaired or replaced, 7 water leaks were repaired, 5 services were updated, 5 fire hydrants were repaired, and there were 3 new water taps for the month. That's all I have.
Street Department, been working on sidewalks on Vicksburg Street. Been working on some drainage issues on State Street, Red Row, Bridge Street, Mack Street, and Scottsboro Road. Been doing a lot of mowing. Grass keeps growing. Hopefully starting to slow down a little with the dry spell, but still working on trash pickup as usual. Worked on a riprap project on Wildcat Drive, kind of in conjunction with the sewer department. All the brush is pretty well burned and cleaned up from that tornado that we had, so that's appreciate the street department and all the departments involved with that project. So it's good to get that behind us. So most of the striping is completed in town, which is your yellow and white lines, but we do have some turn arrows and some stop bars that we're working on to finish up. So 12 barrels in the month of July at the cemetery. That's all I have.
Okay, I don't have a report. I did want to say thank you for your attention and listening to all of that. It's a difficult subject matter to try to get, difficult to understand, first of all, and then try to be able to convey it. So thank you for your attention to that. Anything else under miscellaneous to come before the council for the good of the city? Cody?
Just say real quick, the roundabout at Wildcat is open ahead of school on Wednesday, so for anybody that was curious about that.
Okay. Chief?
No, sir.
Is Wendy still over there? She exit. Brent? Terrence?
Yeah, yesterday was Carmen's birthday.
Happy birthday, Carmen.
Happy birthday, Carmen.
Yeah, I forgot.
Did you want the short version or the long version?
What did you say?
Did you want us to sing the long version or the short version?
Oh, you can sing?
I said we, I don't know.
Short version.
All right, everybody get down on your knees. Happy birthday, Carmen. I'll forego, since this is being recorded, any singing. Anybody else have any, Lance, do you have anything? Brent? Sure?
Yes, I do.
Anyone else? Anybody have a need for a closed or executive session this evening? Hearing no need, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'd make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton?
Yay.
Commissioner Barwick's absent. Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Stefan?
Yay.
Mayor Absher?
Yay, thank you all.
Thought we was gonna have to stay here, didn't you?